How's it going, friends? Zig at the top of the interview here. Today with me I have Ryan Matthew of Cleveland Family Meal. Ryan's a longtime friend. I've known him since high school. We played in a band called Hamilton Handshake. I played bass. He was a front man guitar. I think the biggest thing Hamilton did was we opened up for Greta Van Fleet and brought really big amps to really small clubs and played way too loud and continued to play way too loud. I also taught with Ryan at a charter school for kids with autism. Ryan taught there for 9 years, and he invited me to come play for his class, and that's how I got it started. That's how I started teaching, was him inviting me to come play for his class. Ryan has been one of those people who has changed my life in a bunch of amazing ways, and like ways I never thought I would ever get involved with. I never thought I'd be a teacher. I never thought I would teach with my friends, and that I couldn't be more thankful for him being in my life and the opportunities he's allotted me. And now I want to share you his next endeavor, which is equally a superhero. He's doing the Cleveland Family Meal, which is a coalition of Cleveland chefs with the mission of feeding as many out-of-work Cleveland service industry professionals, musicians, artists, barbers, and friends and neighbors as they can. So in this interview, it's over the phone, just like the rest of these all have been. And so sound goes in and out, but what he's got to say is important. And it's a lot of this Joe Strummer quote that I keep coming to mind with, "Without people, you're nothing." And I think it's a thing we're all realizing now, and there's so many people trying to actively be proactive and help people and do what they can. Right now, the Cleveland Family Meal needs you to help promote them. They're giving out free food to those in need, and they just need the word to be spread. So after listening to this, if you want to know how you can help out, that's how you can do it. Go on Instagram, go on Facebook, share what they like. They got some T-shirts, some stickers where you can buy, and they're taking all the money and using them to make beefier meals. Anywho, further ado, Ryan Matthew. All right, cool beans. This should be all right. I'll turn you up a little bit.
Yeah, this works. This works for me. As long as you can hear me all right, I'll try to talk as loud as possible.
Yeah, no, it's good. I can hear you good. I got you running through a board here.
Word. Yeah, I figured you'd be mic'd up on that end.
Yeah, I've been decking out this podcast stuff for Negative Space to hype all these shows that got canceled.
Yeah, dude, it's like I feel like the thing across the board is everybody was about to go on tour. I just talked to Ryan from Oregon Space Trail of Doom.
Yeah, they were supposed to go to like Austin and stuff.
Yeah, they were supposed to do South by Southwest and do like a ton of shows. And like they really kind of thought it was going to be a big break from them because they've blown up pretty well in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And every time I see them, it's fucking packed.
Yeah, dude, they're never not a bad night with those guys.
Yeah, when they did, Oregon Space Trail of Jazz, like for free at Winchester, it's always so packed. It's like beyond packed.
Was it? Yeah, I haven't seen the jazz bit, but I'm sure it rips just as much as they rip as Doom.
Yeah, it's really good.
Was it? All right, we're doing the Zig at the Gig podcast. I'm hanging out with Ryan Matthew. Is that cool if I go with that?
What's up? Yeah.
Okay. So, you are the first guest I've had that has significantly changed my life in like countless ways. Like, I've been meeting a lot of people like who have inspired me, but you personally, from like what 6th grade, have been changing my life. Yeah, that's right, 9th grade. Mrs. Warren's math class.
I joined y'all.
But we're here to talk about the Cleveland meal plan, the Cleveland Family Meal Plan. Blah, blah, blah. I've been quarantine brain, my friend. But what's that all about?
So, yeah, I guess it's the latest saga and random things that now we've collaborated on and been a part of together. But this is something I'm doing through some of the chefs I'm working with, Vinny Semino, Nate Thomas, Denise Asamakis, I believe is how you say his name. But mostly my team at Summer House that I'm working with, where we are feeding out of work service industry people, musicians, barbers, tattooers, people that work at venues, booking agents, everybody who is just like super out of luck with this whole shelter in place situation and everyone kind of being out of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear myself real good now. Hold on a moment.
Yeah, now you're quiet.
Yeah. Well, I was turning it down.
You're never quiet.
Oh, man. That was weird.
Oh, now we're paused.
Are you good now?
You're paused.
I'm paused?
I can't see you.
How about now? It should be... Oh, wait. What? Can you see me now? No.
Oh, I did, and then now I can't again.
This is some grade A podcast material right here.
Hey, we're learning. We're all figuring out.
Yeah.
There we go. We're all figuring out how to
work the
socially distance and do shit via the internet.
What have you been doing?
I've been with the guys from work at Cleveland Family Meal every day.
So
we usually go
not distanced at all.
Yeah, well, there's like 5 of us. So the 5 of us go in, we cook all day, and then we set up pickup points where we pass out all of the boxes and bags, produce, meals. So it's like from 9 to 2, I cook with like the same 5 people. We check our temperature when we get to work. We check our temperature at lunch. We check our temperature when we leave. We follow like crazy hand washing protocol where basically if you take your gloves off, you wash your hands, you sanitize, you put gloves on.
Wow.
We sanitize the entire kitchen every hour. Like
really
just trying to make sure that we're not propagating or spreading this virus by doing what we're doing. It's like taking as many precautions as you possibly can, even beyond, the ton of precautions you would usually take being in a restaurant, but even more so to just make sure we can feed people safely.
Well, that's badass that you're going the extra mile to make sure none of this gets infected or that you're doing it right, that you're actually helping and not hurting by trying to help. Because, like, I was kind of thinking about the other day that you can still, like, go to Chipotle and stuff and get food, but do I want to do that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's really weird. Like, and you're kind of seeing through this, in my opinion, which restaurants are taking the best protocols and, like, the best practices. Like, when I go to the Root, they've totally changed how the Root operates. Like, the tables are all flipped upside down.
Yeah.
They only let 2 people in at a time.
Wow.
And that whole like bar area where you had coffee cups and creamers and lids and all the stuff that you would touch, you don't touch anything. Yeah. They like wipe down the screen before and after you touch it. And like you see them doing these practices, and it's kind of like from the chef restaurant perspective, you see the people who are like taking precautions and like, that's where I'm going to go support.
Yeah.
Like be still ordering food from. And like Ohio City Burrito, you can't go in anymore. You have to call, order, they prepare the food, they bring it out, and they're practicing like the same protocols we are, where they're making sure their staff is healthy and, practicing above bar safety. And then you go to Walmart and it's like a war zone. And I'm like, this is why I hate Walmart. I had to buy a bike tool from there, and it was like, they were doing nothing to make it better, and there's hundreds of people in that store. So
yeah, it's weird, and they're open, they're not shutting down. Those Target and Giant Eagle and all that stuff. I would hope that maybe when they do close, they sanitize everything. But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're doing some things, but I've noticed, because Vinny and I just have a lot of conversations about how do we make sure the people that are coming to pick up food are, feeling comfortable with knowing we just cook for them all day.
Yeah.
So it's a very like homey and personal thing in a time like this to be dealing with someone's food and nutrition. So,
and it's important because like there's not too many places where you can get like good food, and like you want those businesses that have that opportunity to still be available. And
yeah, and like I think you're also seeing how restaurants treat their staff and how, venues are handling this and how bands are handling this. And it's like, it's very telling of, who are the good local businesses to keep supporting because they're doing this right. And then who, is maybe not doing such a great job handling these things. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are very upset that this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's an upsetting thing to be like, you have to shut down your business, you know what I mean? And stop. Some people can't just do that. And they're pulling at every hair they can to stay open, even if it's definitely not a necessary business.
I know. And that's I don't know. We'll see I hope that as many businesses come out of this as possible, but I think across the board, you're going to see a lot of small businesses have a hard time pulling through all of this. And that's what we're trying to ease the burden of. I've gone over to my tattooer's house and dropped off food a couple of times this week. I've, seen people from greenhouse that were in need of stuff coming to get food. And some of those people are small business owners. They are in that circle of Cleveland creators that would come to mind. Some of them curate comedy shows and booking in that regard. Some of them are chefs. Some of them are musicians, but they're all so impacted by this. And that's where we're well, the musicians have been doing live streams. You guys are doing what you do. You're playing music and creating a dialogue in podcasts and doing the things you do. And that's where we're we're going to just keep cooking because that's what we can do to help people through this. You can get food from us and come home and make dinner and watch a live show and make this lock-in bearable. For sure. And, I think in different mediums and different ways, everyone's trying to do that. I was up at Blazing Saddles before I was able to get on the horn with you because I was helping Hayden with a bike repair because Hayden's off work from teaching. So he's been riding and I couldn't figure out how to fix this bike. So I went over to Blazing Saddles, which are friends of ours. They were friends through Greenhouse. And those guys are practicing a bunch of cleaning policies and have been super cool and are letting one person in the store at a time to get their bike worked on so people can stay active and sane and doing things. But in everybody's little way, they're just, I feel trying to do things to make this copacetic as possible.
And it's important because everyone's got their own skill and skill set to share. And depending what it is, it's a lot more hard. It's a lot more difficult to share that skill set. With teaching, you taught for over 9 years?
Just about 9 years.
About 9 years. So that skill set's a little harder to maybe monetize in the same way that the guy from Blazing Saddles or even just cooking and being able to donate food.
Yeah.
One cool, I can't remember what brewery's doing, but one brewery was making sanitizer with alcohol, and I thought that was a cool way for them to.
Yeah, that's
what was
I'm
that?
pointing you're here in my house.
Yeah,
that's a Lakewood distillery over on Madison. Gotcha. I can't remember the name of it, but I mean, you see everybody trying to do what they can, and it's wild because it's so global. I see people from chefs in Italy that will randomly pop up in my Instagram, to people in Nashville, to people in Chicago, to New York, who's hit the hardest.
Yeah.
And across the board, you're seeing these same things, it's it's so widespread. That's almost the most unfathomable part is.
That is pretty crazy just how quickly this became life. You know what I mean? It's just, this is it now. Ba-boom, left turn. Okay, go straight. What are we doing?
And you're seeing everybody innovate in kind of interesting ways and adapt in interesting ways. And that's what Cleveland Family Meal was. We weren't planning on starting a nonprofit to feed people. We just opened a restaurant.
Yeah.
But
which you guys just opened too. This wasn't.
We opened a week before the mandatory shutdown. So we had one grand opening week, which everyone was afraid they were going to get coronavirus. So they called and canceled their reservation. So our only week open was Corona week, and then we closed. But, you know, you're seeing everybody from like Gaw and all the Cleveland musicians to, I feel like, us and a lot of other restaurants. Dante's is doing it. Cerna has been doing like food produce sales. Ushabu, like Matt Spinner and Danko's restaurant, they've been doing free farmers markets out of their kitchen. But like you see these businesses being like, all right, obviously this is not going to be profitable for any of us, but like, how can we do something to help?
Yeah.
And to ease the burden? And maybe it's online concerts, maybe it's, you know, setting up digital workplaces, maybe it's doing these like free farmers markets, but you're seeing every business have to like pivot in a week.
Yeah. It's
a week ago, life was normal, and now we
apocalypse.
Yeah, now we're here all of a sudden.
And the pressure to innovate under like in a positive way under all this negative stuff happening is telling of a lot of people, and I think telling of what businesses and what innovators are going to really stick around and be supportive once the whole thing clears. And like another thing is like the fact that it happened so quickly is it's catching everyone off guard, and all those ideas. Like, I don't know how long you guys have been thinking of this, but if you waited a little bit longer, someone else probably would have started that, and you would have been the supporting role, which is just as good. That everyone's actively trying to be, and quickly is trying to be like as helpful and positively impacting as they can.
Yeah, and it was Sunday, like what? Not this past Sunday, previous Sunday, where DeWine had the press conference. He announced that like as of 9 p.m. that night, all bars and restaurants would close for anything other than takeout. And I was like sitting at home, exactly where I'm sitting now, watching this on my phone, and was just like, holy shit, what do we do? Called my chef Vinny and was just like, what's happening? We just opened this restaurant. Now we have to close it. Like,
yeah,
I'm so panicked. And he's just like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start this like nonprofit kitchen, and we're going to feed people. That's what we know how to do. Calm down. You're coming to work tomorrow. We're going to cook. And I was like, okay. Wow. Like, went into work the next day, made like 400 chocolate chip cookies, like stressed out. Like,
yeah.
I just want to, what should I make people? Probably chocolate chip cookies, pastry chef. Like, all right.
There's definitely got to be some stress eating happening for sure.
Yeah. And then him and I just like slowly day to day put this together. Like, we were like, what do we call it? And I'm like, well, we feed our staff every day at like 4:00, just like we do now. We call it family meal. Like, everybody loves the word Cleveland attached to anything,
especially around these parts.
We were just like, Cleveland family meal.
Done deal.
And now we have merch coming out. I should send you the shirt designs. I can probably send them to you now. Will that work?
Yeah. If not, you can just send it to me after this. And I can
they're pretty awesome. We're doing. Do you remember Jimmy from Low Cut Connie?
Yeah.
So Jimmy did a whole bunch of really cool art and designs for us, and we're doing shirts and stickers that we're going to put on sale hopefully this weekend.
And you were telling me before, but just so our listeners know, what are these shirts and stickers and all the sales you make go towards?
Yeah, so we're in the midst of putting it together to raise more money to buy more to-go containers, more bags, more product to bridge the gaps from what we're getting donated. So sometimes we could use milk to make these bags more balanced, or eggs, or, you know, some rice and beans or something to like round out what we get donated to make kind of more balanced, healthy, better meals for everybody. So we're going to use that money to just continue to purchase provisions, purchase to-go wares, just continue feeding people. So it's been a daily, evolving situation of how can we do more? How can we reach more people? You know, and kind of each day we've probably fed anywhere from 30 to 75 people, and that's going almost 10 days now. So,
nice.
I mean, that's probably right around 300 to 500 people we fed in the last 2 weeks. And it's not just a meal, it's probably a week's worth of groceries for one person. So
that's incredible, man.
Yeah, we just want to keep going at that rate and keep continuing to give these big balanced boxes with like some produce, some eggs, some prepared meals, like a huge array of stuff where for the next, 2 weeks, you don't have to worry about what you're making for dinner. You can worry about, navigating these stressful times and not having food.
Well, and that's a whole stressful factor is trying to find food and worrying about that. So to get that out of the way, especially with people that are trying to maintain their business that's shut down, that's like a huge help. And the fact that your boy Vinny was just like, "This is what we're gonna do," you know what I mean? That's insane. That's so
yeah.
cool.
I mean, he's a super dope chef. He ran Greenhouse when I was like a back waiter and working at Steps.
Yeah.
And he was like the head chef, and I used to like go in the kitchen and bother him, be like, "What are you doing? What are you making?" And he'd be like, "Go upstairs. You're a back waiter. You work in the front of the house restaurant. Like you're not cooking. Go." And I always was like super intrigued by what he was doing. And when Greenhouse was closing, I got in touch with him and was lucky enough to work with him. But he is a very composed and like knowledgeable chef. So I'm very glad to be working with him and the other guys from Summer House like through this because, no one of us could have pulled this off. He couldn't have done it without the guys he brought in. We couldn't have done it without him giving us the guidance and a lot of the connections and networking that he has. So collectively through, 5 or 6 of us, we've managed to somehow pull this off.
Well, that's amazing. Like I've been on this kick as of lately with this Joe Strummer quote, and it's the I forget what it's from, but it's without people you're nothing. You know what I mean? And that's been like hitting really hard, especially with what we're going through and how distant we are from each other. But the fact that, just like you said, that this whole thing couldn't happen without the teamwork, without you guys as a unit, and like, man, you've always been involved in like superhero shit. Like right now,
you're that far. I just have always been trying. I just want to be involved in like the most fun, helpful, and interesting thing happening. And I'm not always involved, but I try to when I can be. So
every endeavor that we've talked about or I've come across with you has been superhero shit. Spent 9 years.
Thank you, man. You as well. There's a small group of Cleveland super homies that I can always look to and know are doing good and interesting and creative and engaging things. And there's a short list of people that I'm lucky enough to call my good friends. And it's like you and Phil and even Jimmy out in Philadelphia from Low Cut Connie who did this design work for us. Like, it's so you see in these times, like who are the really good people who are trying to do something cool and how can I bridge what we're doing with what they're doing. Like Gaw helped us get the word out to musicians and the next day we probably fed 20 random Cleveland musicians and I'm like, I've seen you at open mics. I've seen you at shows.
Yeah.
And like, like it was the same thing with Gaw. Like I was like, you know what? Gaw's doing those online shows. If there's something interesting going on in Cleveland music and like thoughtful and impactful, I feel like Gaw knows the person doing it or is a part of it. I was like, I'm going to call her.
Yeah.
And, through 10 minutes of conversation and a post on social media, we got to feed 20 more people. So, that's just been one of the cool things about all of this is getting to connect and unite all of those people. And by doing that, you reach a whole new audience of people, you feed a whole new group of people and, build new connections. Today I was at Saucy Sun, shout out to that amazing butcher shop. They're over on Fleet Avenue. And I was grinding meat to make meatballs for these bags.
Yeah.
And I ran into a pastry chef who I knew through the kitchen scene and found out that she is dating one of the owners of Blazing Saddles, who I was like there tonight.
Yeah.
Through all of these things going on, like you just see this web of people where you're like, well, are they open? She's like, yeah, they want to keep like keeping people active, but also remaining safe and not, causing a problem. And I'm like, another cool small business, another cool friend doing something. Like, then I went over there tonight. So that's been like my general quarantine mission is try to isolate as much as possible. And if you're going to do something, support a local small business, support a local musician. Like I've ordered a couple different shirts from restaurants that are selling shirts to raise money. Like I keep going to the Root every day, like trying to put my $4 a day into the Root. Like try to keep supporting all of the homies and hope the homies can keep supporting you and we can, hunker down and get through this.
It comes down. That's what I mean. That Joe Strummer thing. Without people, you're nothing, man. It's resonating true with everything. And like that $4 every day does a lot. You know what I mean? And just the fact that they're still doing it and you're appreciating it and telling people they can still go there and still get that. Like I didn't know if the Root was open. I mean,
none of these businesses are open in like the conventional sense we know.
Yeah.
And they're all taking a hit, by having to limit their services, but they're doing it when, not because they have to. A lot of this is voluntary. Yeah. It's being asked of them. And like they're choosing to participate. They're choosing to be a part of like the solution, not the problem. And it's like cool to see because it like, strengthens my fervor. And like these are great businesses and places to spend my money and places to go eat and places to go, enjoy a show. Like seeing all of these musicians banding together, I'm like, I can't wait to go to a show again. Like I fell out of the habit of going to shows with being a chef.
Yeah.
Not being in bands. I was always working. But like now I'm like, oh my God, I just want to like go have a burger somewhere, go see a show, run into like 7 random other people, we're all just like, oh, we'll FaceTime. Hi.
Hey. I mean, this helps, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Doing
these
intervals.
Doing these, I was writing lessons, man. Doing these interviews has helped me feel like I'm still social and still get to see my friends. But what I was just
have you been fully hunkered down at home for the most part?
Yeah, for the most. I've been doing with Carla. We're doing the online lessons, and that's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Hopefully good. But I've been doing that and just trying to support all our homies by spreading the word. Do this and just my self routine has been insane, man. I've been sleeping in, practicing for like 4 hours, like doing.
I'm like almost jealous. I've gotten to the point. I was telling Carla right before I talked to you. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, God, I just want to isolate. Like seeing everyone relaxing at home. I'm like, each day becomes. At first it was like, fuck yeah, we're going to go in, we're going to cook, we're going to feed people. But like after day 10, just like, yeah, so a little isolation and relaxation would be nice. Like my hands are so dry from just constantly washing them. And it's almost more work feeding people in a pandemic than plating bougie food on a Friday night.
Well, dude, for sure. You said it within the description, man. But you're fighting the good fight, and you're like, you still can. Like with all my work, it was all nursing homes and teaching and being in social spots. And like now I for the most part, with a lot of that stuff, I felt like I was able to give back in some way. And now that I can't do anything, I've been redefining how I can help out. Which is why I'm taking more interest in reaching out to more people to do this and just hype up what they're what's the word I'm looking at, amplify what they're saying.
Yeah, and I think that's all everyone can do from the food perspective. Like Vinny and I have been trying to order lunch at work from a local restaurant, if it's a friend of ours. Like a lot of us who are chefs, we're on salary, and we're a little bit more comfortable than some of the line cooks or young servers or people that live on tips. Like So we're trying to go to the root and tip if you can, and order, lunch for the crew from Ohio City Burrito and leave a tip. Like, everyone's finding new ways. Ordering, I bought shirts from Blazing Saddles today just to, put an extra $40 in their pocket. Like when we went to Saucy Sun the other day, Vinny, we spent $9 on lunch, and Vinny left a $91 gift card there for them to give extra food to people that come in, and take it off the gift card.
That's amazing.
It's like,
what a cool dude.
However we can pass it forward, it actually makes sense to pay it forward for once in life. Like,
yeah,
you're not just ordering Starbucks for the rich person behind you. Like, you're actually helping somebody by doing these like little things that, aren't a ton, but order some merch from your favorite band, order a CD. Like, now's the time to like pick up that $45 hoodie from that band that you love, that you're always like, should I buy it? Yes, you should buy it, because you'll live without that $45. This will reopen, but that's like, grocery or weed for a week for a band. They need that.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely need it. But no, paying it forward and definitely supporting local and like getting involved and just supporting it and realizing what's around. If anything that comes out of this, it's realizing that was here the whole time. This is awesome. Why didn't I realize I can get coffee here, and why was I always going to Starbucks or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a time to support small business across the board. Support venues, like buy gift cards to the Beachland if they have them for sale. Buy gift cards to, your favorite restaurant. It puts money in their accounts right now and helps them keep paying their staff, or keep paying a percentage of wages to their staff, or doing something. It helps bands who just got hit by not being able to release albums and go on tour because it's spring, and go to South by Southwest. Like, it sucks.
It is. It's one cool thing I meant to say earlier, when you were saying you're hyped to go to a show. I was just talking with Brent Kirby before I called you, and the concern of people even wanting to go see music again was kind of a
Well, we feel that in restaurants too. I mean, there will definitely be a weary period where people are gonna come out slowly. It's not going to be the floodgates.
Yeah.
We're going to turn the sink on a little bit, hopefully, and people will reacclimate to things, but it's going to be a new normal, I think, for sure.
Yeah. It's
not going to be back to what we always saw. We're going to see, how this long-term affects music venues, restaurants, like a lot of frivolous spending when money is tight, and even in this ends, will you have money to go to that show? Will you have, money to go to that restaurant?
Yeah.
Or will you have been unemployed for so long that you can't afford it? And, we see restaurants reopen, but they're not busy because people can't afford to go out and they're afraid. Like, I've been in a lot of those discussions. It's so much unknown, which creates so much anxiety for, so many people.
How have you been handling that?
Cooking, chicken noodle soup, chalk chip cookies.
Hell yeah.
Listening to music, staying as busy and distant as possible, bike riding, just understanding that we have all had to adapt before, and we're just adapting now to a new set of circumstances. But I think you can just wait, and we just have to wait.
Yeah.
And see.
I think that's the hardest part for most people is like, it'd be different if there was like, okay, it's actually just this 2 weeks. They got that vaccine on the way, but it's not. It's a question mark at the end of the wait game, and that for most people is pretty provoking and like.
Yeah. It's so hard to deal with. I mean, Vinny and I have had, a few heavy hitting conversations where we're really glad to like like I've never woken up to an alarm as joyously as I wake up to an alarm during the apocalypse, because I'm like, awesome, I have something to do.
For sure.
Like, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Like, I get up an hour and a half before work now just to like do stuff around the house. Like, I've never felt before, because we're like so appreciative to just have things to fill our day, because it's such an anxious time that if you're cooking and busy and doing things and cleaning the kitchen and doing everything, you don't just sit and dwell on it. But, that's an easy place to be with how things are. It's just like you're sitting at home, you're anxious.
Yeah.
You're waiting for the next news report, the next DeWine announcement. Are they going to hunker down more? Will there be more restrictions?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that definitely most people that are working are definitely blessed to have the gig and to have something to do, and just like you're saying, something to preoccupy. And in your case, when it's positive and you're actually going out and helping people and being proactive in the situation and bettering people's lives and diminishing that anxiety by feeding them, like that's got to even be more rewarding and easier to kind of get through it, because you're proactive, you're doing something about it. I know a lot of people that are trying to get to where you're doing what you're doing to some degree, and which brings me to my next question of how can people help? How can we help Cleveland Family Meal Plans?
The biggest, probably two things right now are
plans it out.
Find us on Facebook at Cleveland Family Meal, Instagram at CLE Family Meal, and spread the word. We have lots of donations. We have enough chefs to make that food happen every day. We just want to make sure we're finding people and reaching people. It's so a la minute, as we say in restaurants, like on the minute, in the moment, that we've had to set this up, that, we're trying to reach people. Yeah. Like they didn't know we existed before 2 weeks ago. So that's the big one. And then from going past that, keep an eye out for like those shirts and stickers. And if you can spare $20 or $25, that will buy like 4 bags of groceries for somebody, every shirt that we sell. And we unfortunately cannot take volunteers, because we're trying to keep monitored the number of people we have interacting with the public and with the food and making sure everyone's healthy. But we can, like we said, take sales once we do those shirts, and we're going to set up a donations portal as well. And that'll just help feed more people. So if you're, fortunate enough to be still working through this or having a little bit of extra money because you didn't go out to dinner 10 times this week, like we all usually do. Yeah. Or lunch or coffee or everything. If people can donate or buy a shirt, that will help us feed so many more people and keep food streaming in and keep those boxes like balanced and healthy, and not just giving people ho-hos and chips.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with those chips. I do enjoy some chips, but
I know.
I agree.
We've had so many potatoes. We've been making potato chips.
Really?
Just to give people. We've been joking. People are going to, eat so well by doing this, because we don't know how to cook not like from scratch and good food. So, we've been doing like pot roast and pulled pork and homemade potato chips and mashed potatoes and meatballs and homemade pastas, homemade breads,
dude, that's awesome.
We've had a bunch of people joking. They're like, we're eating better now than we ever have. And we're like, well, we're glad. We gave out caviar the other day because someone donated a fuck ton of caviar, because when the economy crashes, no one can buy caviar. So it gets donated. And then we get to put caviar in your bag, and you can put caviar in your scrambled eggs in the middle of the end of the world.
That's awesome.
It's really an experience like nothing else.
What are you typically getting the same things donated from the same places, or is it always
No, it's like completely random. So, restaurants were expecting to be busy this time of year, and now they're all closed. So food providers have, ordered on par all of this food with no restaurants to buy it. So sometimes we get a bunch of potatoes. The other day, I got like 72 gallons of mayonnaise. Haven't figured out a use for that
yet.
Yet. We have a couple non-food related options like mayonnaise wrestling, mayonnaise sledding down
mayonnaise
a hill.
Sledding. It could be mayonnaise. It could be like, I don't know. You could replace it for grease of some sort. It can be oil.
Yeah, we were saying, just mayonnaise a hill, have people skate down it, charge like a toboggan chute would. No, but it's super random. Sometimes we literally had caviar come in. One day we had 100 pounds of clams and mussels and seafood. So we made a huge pot of like a seafood chowder, and we put that into quarts. And then we always have flour and water and eggs. So we make pasta because it's, something we know how to do and it's cheap. We feed a lot of people.
How can
Vinny used to run a pizza shop or a restaurant that had a pizza program. So we made a bunch of freezer pizzas for people.
Nice.
We make a bunch of pita and hummus every day. Just like it's random. It's based on what we have. It's us using the skill we know how to do, which is like, all right, we have 48 pounds of broccoli, 110 pounds of seafood, all of these random things. How do you actually make meals out of this that are good, makes sense?
You guys should record and make little YouTube bits because that sounds like an entertaining challenge.
Oh, it's really, I've never made such ridiculously large quantities of weird foods. Like the other day we made like 58 pounds of green bean casserole.
Jeez, that's awesome.
So
to have all the material and be like, green bean casserole, you know what I mean? Just like is there like
we all joke like we cook like cafeterias, like church cafeterias, or like we all are making like hearty, big, comforting meals that are delicious, and we're like we miss the fanciness of plated meals and tasting menus and doing things that are composed and refined. Now it's like rice, beans, braised pork, smashed plantains, whatever is random and we have and is delicious. And it's all served in clamshell to-go containers, which from like being a fine dining chef is not what we're used to, but it's actually kind of fun.
It sounds like it'd be a fun challenge just to be like, when you're doing that, when someone's come up like all this is in front of it, does Vinny make the call and been like, okay, the green bean casserole, or do you guys individually just get a chunk of what you got and make what you can?
Yeah, we kind of just we get in a huge donation, usually from like Cisco, Cerna, Sanson, Chef to Chef, Cantonese Classic, Blue Ribbon. Like these are all the food providers that restaurants would order from. They'll come give us a big donation. And then we kind of just stand there like, well, we could do this, we could do this. And then you kind of create your own little to-do list. All right, like I'm going to make pasta and then mac and cheese. And then I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies and then this. And we're all doing that same thing all day. We're making our little list of things based on what we have. So it's kind of, what do we do with that? Oh, I'll take it. I'll do this. What do we do with that? Oh, he's going to take that. He has a thing he's going to do with that. By the end of the day, there's like hundreds of meals sitting around. We're all like, yeah, good job.
Dude.
But like we're kitchen people. So we're like, your food sucks and it's under seasoned. Mine's better. And we're just like talking shit all day.
So it's just like being in a band.
Yeah, totally. I've been joking that I think all of us need like kitchen people. We need like a FaceTime group where we cook dinner at the same time so we can like talk shit about how terrible the food next to us looks and like how horrible those people are at making pasta and like how they have no fucking clue how to make bread and like, because, that's what as chefs you do all day. You're like, that guy's no idea what he's doing. Like this is awful. You're all talking shit to each other. Like, well, your food's awful. Going back and forth. But so that's mostly everyone picks their little to-do list. They all bust each other's chops and cook all day. And then we feed a bunch of people. And then I go social distance all night. So I don't ideally pass anything around when I come into work the next day.
Yeah. And that's been looking like bike riding and chilling?
Lots of bike riding. That's what I'm going to be doing as soon as this ends, as long as it doesn't rain. But yeah, lots of bike riding and then just seeing the guys sometimes from work, because we all know, we're fine.
Yeah.
So
was it when so where can people go if they need food? Do they just come to the restaurant?
So we've been doing, at first we were doing all of our pickup points at the restaurant. We kind of found that to be difficult to do because we were bringing a bunch of people into what we considered our clean space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we decided to cook, and then we load up cars and we take them to, right now, Salt in Lakewood. It's a beautiful restaurant on Detroit Road on the west side of Lakewood. We bring the food out there to their patio. We set up on the patio so everyone's outside and, ideally in nice, fresh, open air. And we set up a grab your own market. People come out of their cars, hand sanitize, put on gloves, grab their stuff, load up their car, air high five. And we also have a drop-off point in Akron, which is announced daily. It's between a couple different restaurants down there. But those drop-off points are announced on our Instagram, like whenever we update them. So you can find them on Instagram or Facebook where we're dropping off what time.
Cleveland Family Meal. I can't say the word family today, dude. I'm just like...
Familia.
Family. Cleveland Family Meal at Instagram and Facebook. Now, do you guys announce the time, or is it the same time every day?
It's pretty much, for Akron, it's between 5 and 6. For Cleveland, it's between 3 and 4.
Jeez, man.
It honestly depends on what time our delivery came in, how fast we cooked. And we announce, all right, I think we can get there by 3:30. So it's usually Cleveland's between 3 and 4, Akron's between 5 and 6. So you go to the Cleveland stop, pass out food for about 2 hours, then drive down to Akron, pass out food for about 2 hours, and then go back, wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah, man, that's superhero shit, dude. That's superhero shit.
It's keep busy shit,
Yeah,
but
it's
of course, obviously we want to go beyond keeping busy, but and make an impact, but also we're just a bunch of dudes that we know how to cook, and we just want to cook, and we don't want to sit at home. And restaurant people don't have time off. It's not like our luxurious teaching lives where, you got 2 weeks off here and 3 weeks off there and 3 days off here and a Monday off here. Not restaurants. You're closed Christmas and maybe Thanksgiving. Besides that, Easter, every holiday you're open, every weekend you're open. So for us, we're just we don't know what to do with free time.
Yeah.
When I wasn't teaching, I was at Greenhouse, for winter break, for summer break. What do I do with time off?
How do I do self-time?
I don't know.
Was that a shift for you going into this kind of? It sounds like it wasn't, because for our listeners, you taught at Steps for 9 years, working with kids on the autism spectrum, as well as me and you were in a band called Hamilton Handshake, and I think
we probably should have mentioned the band and stuff before. We've known each other a while, but yes.
I tried. Lately, I've been just jumping in these conversations because I haven't seen all these people, and I'm excited to talk to you and all my friends, and I just kind of get carried away with dude, tell me what you're doing. It's so
We're
cool.
We're gonna hear this in hindsight. We're the context is completely lost to everybody except Dave and I. Yeah. This is a recorded phone call.
I'll put it at the beginning too. No. That's what I'll do. I'll put a little
power of editing.
The power of editing. I'll put a little front so people know what's going on. But yeah, so jumping into a position where it's literally no break, because teaching is pretty relentless and is hard, and it's hard to keep in the mental game when you're always trying to educate the youth and trying to teach a kid algebra who doesn't want to do anything but be home and then
tell you about World War II and Holocaust and other bizarre facts that are inappropriate for the time being.
And sometimes wrong.
Yeah, usually wrong.
and then jump into a spot that's like, or jump into a gig that's endless, like, go now, I need this from you now. Was that like an easy shift for you, or was it like a from a teaching spot where you have a little bit of leeway, relax time, and then jumping into a cooking gig like this?
You know, I think the easy answer is like I was always doing stuff, so being busy is being busy.
Yeah.
Now it was just like always in one building, but it's definitely was a transition to keep up with like an entire new career field after being a decade behind in some people's eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the weirdest thing. Like in teaching, I was, a head administrator. I'd been doing it forever. Everyone knew that I had put in my time, and then all of a sudden I'm a chef at a restaurant and I'm brand new, and I had to, show everybody that I could keep up and work in those super high volumes and do that. And it was a fun challenge, like to keep up. I worked 107 days straight without a day off. when I took my job at Greenhouse, I made a smart ass comment that I don't need days off. I always worked every day because I taught, and then I worked at Greenhouse, or I was in the band or doing something. And I said I didn't need an assistant. I could do it all by myself. And that meant I had to work lunch every day, brunch every day on the weekends, and dinner 7 days a week, and work like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And to be stubborn, I was like not going to accept a day off. And then once I hit my 100 days to be a smart ass again, I said it was easy, and I worked another week without a day off. And then I think I took 2 days off and just slept for the entire 2 days.
Yeah, man, that's insane. Like I tend to keep myself busy and like if I'm not teaching or nursing home or doing some type of gig, I got a weird gig or an out of town gig, and if I'm not doing a gig, I'm booking, I'm trying to do a thing. And like, but that's next level, man. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot less flexible to like run a pastry program, dessert program, whatever of a restaurant than to be like the creative that I was in my jobs before. Like I ran creative arts programs. If I wanted to come to work and figure out how many folds it took to make a pizza box, like they allowed you to do that.
Yeah.
Kind of did whatever made sense that day with the kids that were upset, with the kids that were having a bad day, and you randomly just like watch YouTube with them and watch the history of the Rolling Stones, or you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's like way less flexible. Dinner service is the same time every day. The guests don't care if you're tired. They don't care if you overslept. They don't care if you're late. Like the Yelp review will be there insulting your food if it's not great.
Point.
So that was a change of pace.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's supposed to taking the task at hand. It's, the assignment, show up, be ready type deal. Not that teaching isn't, but teaching, the problem could be different every time. And you have to find innovative ways.
Teaching, like, you have your relaxed time within each day where, you're just talking with a kid on a walk. You're, having a fun conversation about how piano scale or how scales work on piano or whatever. And like, it's fun. And, kind of happens at the pace that life happens, but restaurants happen at like 1,000,000 miles an hour all the time. And there's no pause. Like the greatest pause you have is like Sunday or Monday, which are like the less busy days.
Yeah. Jeez. But even that still, there's no stop. People still come in on Mondays. I always thought for some reason Tuesday, it seems like a lot of like Asian restaurants and stuff close on Tuesday, and I heard that was because it was like a slow restaurant day.
Yeah, the beginning of the week's a slow time, but like when you work at the Greenhouse Tavern, which was pretty much always busy, or now you work in a restaurant that's in the midst of grand opening, it's always busy.
Yeah.
And if you work at a great restaurant, it's always busy. That tends to be how it goes.
Yeah. Well, and when you're into it and you want to like cook and learn how it works and learn the craft of it, that's where you want to be. You want to be in
Yeah,
the spots that are
exactly.
happening. You want to play. You want to play the venue that people go to. You don't want to play
Yeah.
the venue where you're just making it up by yourself to playing the nobody. Was it?
Yeah, you want to open for the biggest band. You want to work at the biggest restaurant. Like, and that's where I fell in love with restaurants and chose to leave teaching and pursue cooking. Was like, it was so much aligned with so many of the things that I was doing creatively outside of teaching, and like teaching didn't always align with those things. There was meetings and shirts and ties and a lot of paperwork and notebooks and stuff that like was not interesting to me. And then I, would leave there and go into greenhouse, and it was like fire and flambeing and, giant steaks and entire cows coming down onto this big table and being butchered with fucking sword-sized knives and constant profanity and tomfoolery and insulting and music blaring at a decimal like that would have been unheard of in your classroom, and a vehement argument happening whether or not Rush is the worst or best band ever, and complete insulting on the taste of you, your family, everything you've ever done because you like this band. And then I had to like leave that at the end of the day, go home and wake up and go to a school where it was
different,
slower paced and kind of boring, and in my eyes.
Did you plant your flag in Camp Rush, or were you not in Camp Rush?
I was, of course, not in Camp Rush. Absolutely not. I know that Phil might hear this and be like, "Fuck you, man."
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Rush is not that cool to me.
You got to be into it, man. You got to be into it to get it, I feel.
I know. Like, I respect others' love of Rush, but I was not in Team Rush.
Are you thinking now that you got some quarantine time to do some music?
Yeah, I've actually been telling somebody on Facebook I'm going to pick up this guitar all week. I just haven't had time.
Nice. And I'll give you your amp.
So dude, I know. The rest of that amp is in my garage.
Yeah.
And I need to rewire the cab. That's funny. I totally forgot about that for the 100th time.
Yeah, it's all good. I've been trying to get it to you, but I know you 100 days, 125 days or whatever. There's no chance of getting to you.
I know. I set up like one day I had a couple of days off, and I set up my little orange practice amp.
Nice.
And my pedal board in my living room, and I'll pick it up every now and then, but in the time that you or your dad repaired that amp, I've also had another amp die and a guitar have a circuit that needs resoldered. So the never-ending saga of keeping your gear up to snuff.
Yeah, bring it over. We'll figure it out.
Now that we have quarantine time, hopefully they fully lock everyone down a little bit, and then I'll get like 2 weeks to write or chill or play music again.
Yeah, I think that even though that would suck to be fully locked in, it probably would help.
Well, I told Vinny, we jokingly said when all of this was going down, the only way we're going to stop cooking is if they like arrest us or threaten us with jail time. And I've been to jail and I don't want to go back. So like at some point when we hit the military state, maybe I'll stay home and play guitar then. Stop doing
just
stuff.
To keep it a little louder than the tanks,
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get there, man. That'd be.
No, I know. It's like you almost have to just joke about how ridiculous it all is. Like,
yeah, it is absurd. And keeping it
everyone's
absurd.
Like, who knows? Like maybe in 2 weeks from now, I'll see you at the Beachland Ballroom and we'll have a blast. Or like 2 weeks from now, we'll be occupied by tanks and everybody will be in hazmat suits. I'm not sure.
One or the other. I like how it goes from Beachland to hazmat. I'll take that.
I don't know. It's one of the two options. I don't know what middle ground exists.
I don't think there is one right now.
It's either going to be fine or we're all just going to go into full Walking Dead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Hopefully there's no zombies.
Yeah, when I wake up every day and there's no news reports of people with COVID-19 coming back to life and eating other people, I'm like, all right, we're doing good.
Well, it came from a bat, vampires, right?
Yeah. Did you have you ever seen the movie Contagion?
No, but it sounds relative to like.
Yeah, it's the most relevant thing and terrifying thing I've ever watched. It was made in 2011, and it's about a disease that was given to pigs from bats in China and eventually wiped out a large swath of the population. And it had a 2-week incubation period where you didn't know you had it, so you just kept spreading it. And when they tried to lock everybody down, it was too late, and the whole world ended. And then I was just like, am I in my living room and this is actually happening, or am I watching Netflix? I don't know. I'm a little bit stoned.
Oh, I think someone told me about that film. They told me the same thing.
It's mind blowing. I was like, am I watching Fox News or Netflix? Is this a dramatized version of what's really happening or the truth?
Yeah, some dude at Netflix, the owner of that film, definitely is like, you guys are going to get mad streams with this. Put this in there now.
Yeah. Oh, it's not even on Netflix. You got to rent it for $3.99 or whatever on Apple. Unknown. But it's well worth the rental to be like,
terrified.
Wow. It's like predicting the future.
Or you know what? It's not that bad. Look how bad they got it. We're all right.
Right? I know. It could be totally worse. It could be like the great Spanish flu of 1918.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing is that's the biggest destroyer of people throughout time has been disease. And there's been multiple times this has happened and wiped out huge chunks, but stuff gets better, arguably.
Arguably. We did elect Trump in the modern era, so better is subjective. But
it is subjective. Oh man, yeah, that's another scary part about all this.
Yeah, no, I know. He's like, we need to sacrifice some old people to reopen the economy quicker. Let's go. When he was saying if it gets worse, not if it gets worse, we need to open the economy before the economy gets worse. And I'm like, well, there's also sick people. I don't know if you remember that.
They're not going to be going out and shopping.
It's about a smidge more than the economy at this point.
For sure. And that goes back to kind of what you're saying. You'll really see who's actually taking steps to be part of the solution, especially with businesses, because everyone's worried that this is going to be it for them. And a lot of businesses, like we were saying, were hanging on by a hair. And it's going to really come down to those that are trying to help. And if that means shutting down or being part of the solution, whatever way they can.
Yeah, and I just hope, most importantly, that the Rolling Stone show, if they don't do it in June like they're supposed to, hopefully they live stream it like all of you guys have with your shows, because I need to see that Stone show.
I got tickets to that too, man.
Did you see that? Did you get tickets?
I got one ticket because the last
you got a ticket?
I got the last 6 shows I went to. I bought 2 tickets and ended up going by myself. So I was just like, the Stones one, I'm just going by myself. I'm not going to miss the Stones in Cleveland. It's going to be sick. I'm getting one. I found one in a decent spot for probably $100, and it came out to 2 when you're done with all the fees and whatnot.
Right.
Did you find a good spot?
Carla, her aunt, got us really obnoxiously good tickets.
Nice.
$800 a ticket.
Ooh.
So yeah, way more than I could afford tickets.
Yeah.
So I was excited because last time I saw the Stones, I also had bougie, super nice tickets that Phil got me as a gift.
Yeah. Well, Phil's got the ticket hookup. If any of our friends knows how to get good seats at shows, it's Phil.
Yeah. I sat 3rd row from the front when him and I saw the Stones in Columbus. And I didn't buy Stones tickets because I'm like, that was so amazing. I came face to face with our Lord and Savior Keith Richards. It's not going to be the same from the nosebleeds if I can't, smell the cigarette smoke wafting off of him. And then her aunt's like, oh, I got you guys amazing tickets. And I was like, ah! Yeah. And then they said, it's postponed indefinitely until all this passes. And I'm like,
Yeah,
ah.
of course. Yeah, I've been putting off seeing them for a while because I'm like, oh, you know what? They're going to come to Cleveland one of these tours. I'm not going to have to drive a couple hours. I'm not going to have to drive. They got to go to Cleveland. It's the Rolling Stones. It's rock and roll. They got to come here. And
Right.
finally got one for when they do. And now it's postponed. Sucks.
Yeah, that's my only hope. You know, whatever happens with the entire economy, the state of mankind, like, I just really want to see that Stone show. It's really important.
It's a reachable goal, right? If we can get to that, we can get.
If we can just live stream it, I don't have to be there. I want to see it. It's so good. You've never seen the Stones live?
Not live. I've seen videos of them live but I've never seen them live.
It's amazing. It's the most beautiful thing. It's what I imagine like suburban Christian moms feel like when they go to like mega churches and they're just overwhelmed by the majesty and perfection of
Joel.
This performance. No, it's so good.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I've never seen anything like it of any show I've been to. It's just the Stones.
There's definitely something about being in the presence of like legends like the Stones. Like they define rock. You know what I mean? You can't go through a record crate without finding some Stones reminisce and like
probably Tattoo You or the other like 80s-esque albums. Those are always in the dollar bin.
Yeah, you definitely get that one. What was it? Did you see that documentary when they go to South America on Netflix?
Yeah, that was the tour I saw them on. They did South America and then North America. They had like the most insane turnouts in South America.
Yeah, that doc was insane. But that was like my first like real glimpse of what they're gonna sound like when we go see it. You know, like while they're still playing, and
it's such a good show for a bunch of really old drug addicts.
Yeah, they rock, dude. They hold tight. They're like Mick Jagger works more, like he works the stage more than most like bands that like are in their prime. You know what I mean?
I know. Like, it was incredible. When I saw them, it was just one of those I can't believe this is happening like moments, because I had just seen the Who like the week before. The Who was not good. I went with Carl.
What was that? It was not Blossom?
Good. No, we saw him in Columbus.
And was it just the two, right? It was Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Joan Jett opened, which was like really not good either.
She didn't kill? I figured Joan Jett would at least kill. But
not so much. It was weird. There's a lot of like costume outfits happening, and it wasn't very punk. It was like almost if punk was a musical in its aesthetic. It's bizarre.
That's not punk at all.
No, it wasn't very punk. And then the Who came on, and it was like two grandpas that didn't get along on different parts of the stage, and it was like really boring.
Yeah.
And I did not love it. And then like a few weeks later, I saw the Stones, and I was just like, these old guys kill it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were so good.
I saw did you hear the Who's new record?
No, I would not. I would not take the gamble.
You gotta check it out. It's
all
so
right.
rough. It's put that on when you're cooking tomorrow, and everyone will be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like,
usually I put on like Limp Bizkit or Kid Rock, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "The world's ending, man. You gotta end to like Bowling for Soup or something."
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to end to the Who's new record. It's rough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of auto-tune, like blatant Kanye-esque, Kanye level, maybe not Kanye, T-Pain level auto-tune, like where it's just there. It's not, they're not hiding it. It's there.
I don't know. I mean, that's my stance on seeing many old bands. It's like, I don't. Phil obviously sees all of those shows, loves them, but to me, sometimes I just think, I don't want to see it not in its amazing prime. Like, I don't want to hear the Who not in the 70s.
For sure. Yeah, there's definitely a thing that, I mean,
like an album.
Yeah. Like, there's some people I think you gotta see no matter what. Like, the Stones would be one, like B.B. King, and like all those guys that never stopped ripping, even in their in their old age. Like I bet Neil Young still rips, even though he's older and probably can't sing the same. I bet he sound, I mean, I bet it would be as good as a show as in the 70s.
Yeah, I wish I would have gone to see Petty with Phil when he offered me a free Petty ticket, and I was like, I got to work or do something. And then he died, and I was like, God damn it. That was one of those ones I wanted to see.
Was it? Yeah, I think me and Phil saw him in high school. But and then I think Phil might have hit me up about that too, and I was like, I'm sleeping or something. But,
I know. And then in hindsight, you're like, that was such a mistake. I should have gone to that free amazing Petty show.
Was it? Maybe it wasn't Phil. Maybe it was my aunt. Someone else offered to go to that show. But anyway, man, dude, it's been really good catching up, and superhero status is just it's just getting higher for you. The Cleveland.
Well, I appreciate that.
Cleveland Family Meal. People can find you on Instagram, on Facebook. You'll post when you can get food, and the biggest thing you guys need right now is the people to spread the word, right?
Yeah, spread the word and just share it with anybody who might need it.
Beautiful. And when are you guys thinking about when you will have shirts?
We're gonna have pre-sales live hopefully tomorrow. Turnaround on them will be early next week. We'll have them shipped out and ready to go. So we're just in the midst of getting the Squarespace and all of those things set up so we can launch that pre-sale.
Sick. Well, I'll be buying a shirt from you soon. Thanks for hanging out, man. Hopefully this helps.
Absolutely. It was good to talk to you, Dave. Cool, I'll see you soon. I'll pick up that amp, I promise.
We'll hang out, man. We'll jam.
All right.
When this is all good. Later, dude.
Yeah.
Peace.